the GSS, we know that it has already been domiciled within the primary schools, which still takes us back to the issue of infrastructure, which I want to get an answer from you, is, you know, even the most basic structures are missing, like what we talked about, learners, you know, learning under, you know, trees and all. How then, you know, do we move forward? Who are these people that we need to, that need to come together, sit on a table and figure out what needs to be done?
A good question, and I mean, it's the reality that we have. And the ideals, like I said, of this curriculum is that at least every child gets an opportunity to feel appreciated and to feel nurtured throughout the system. There are two things to it. One is currently we have 2 classes within primary. Right. You know, at least in majority of the institutions where these children would have gone to grade 7. So potentially the sitting classes are there. But what was interesting is that you still see photos doing rounds that children reported, but there were no desks. And some people are asking, where did the desks go to? Because otherwise these children would still have transitioned to grade 7 in the same school. And I think that the decision to domicile them there was partly to leverage the existing infrastructure, the classrooms at least, and the desks. But then the fact that there are some schools that will not have already, or that are not, there are schools that are not ready to domicile, or rather to accommodate junior secondary, they were not cleared, means there are schools that will receive excesses. We saw a case of Bungoma DB the other day on the news with very many children, and you know, wanting to come in and join them, and they had put a limit, I think, of 400 on that material day. So it's there are critical players to this space. First is the leadership of the school. And the leadership of the school, alongside the boards of management, they have a mandate of looking at the administratively how a school should run, but also mobilizing partners and actors on the ground to support in this process. So partnerships are really critical. And I think we are in a very, we're in a blessed situation because our country, people love giving. There's so much that people would contribute towards if we conveyed the message the right way. And I'm these days wondering, is it time to start amplifying that which is working, so that whoever has their resources and they feel they can invest would see it as a viable project to go and, you know, become a sponsor in a school, because those people are allowed within the primary institutions and secondary. I'm allowed to be a sponsor in my village school if I have the capacity to contribute. So there's that mandate of leadership. And our head teachers, I think this is the moment to prove themselves, because at least they're the people who are connecting, who are the interface between the child and all this that's going around on media and around the community with people who have so much discouragement around this whole system. So they'll have a lot of work to do in clearing that and giving an impression that it is possible to do it and to make it work. The second party to this is the parent. And, you know, educationists, I think, when we are selling education policies, I think it's important to consider how we communicate them, so that we don't tell parents, we will give you capitation, and then the parents will figure out, oh, so I'll be leaving the house at 5 and coming back at 8, the government is taking care of my child. What is your role in parenting? Now, we know there are instances, or we have had incidences of indiscipline in these schools, but the parent now becomes a critical piece. And especially in the JSS, the rationale is that the parent, the teacher, and the child will work together, because this is where you're identifying the interests, the talents of this child. Because remember, after grade 8, when they go to grade 9, this child is faced with 3 choices, and they have to fit within the best choice, so that they don't transition to STEM, and they would rather have been in social sciences, or they would have been in sports and arts. So it's really a critical moment that our parents are also brought very close to these engagements and made to realize, but also in the leadership, the general leadership, the overall leadership, maybe from the ministry and Friends of Education like the universities and civil society, is to unpack what we're expecting from the parent. So we have a blanket way of saying we expect parents will work together with the teachers and the students to discover their talent. How does that happen in reality? Are we investing in demonstrating how it works? Do even our leadership, our teachers understand that for me to be able to uncover what Virginia's talent is, this is how I would go about it. These are some of the exposure, learning experiences I need to expose them. Are we offering that level of differentiation even during the day-to-day of the classroom? We saw the challenge of portfolios. I mean, Dr. Otheri here may be in a different space altogether because I think over COVID she was thriving all through. But you know, we went to schools and the teachers would ask, how do I even prepare a portfolio? That was in the early years, the grades 1, 2, and 3. Now we're in junior secondary and we are saying the same system applies, that you need to have to cumulatively build an assessment portfolio for every child that will inform the decision as to where they transition to. So all these mechanics of making it work, you know, have to be figured out. And maybe one way is to start celebrating what's working and showcasing. If you have an innovation as a public school, as a private school, how do we bring it to the media? How do we start amplifying and celebrating it so that other people can learn from it?